We must build a United States of Europe, hat der berühmte Premierminister Winston Churchill 1946 gesagt und dennoch durchblicken lassen, dass Großbritannien kein Teil davon sein wird. Aber warum diese Skepsis, die bis heute spürbar ist? Wir zeigen dir die wichtigsten Stationen dieser schwierigen Freundschaft.
We're in the west of London at Roehampton University. The summer break is about to end, and thousands of students from all over the world are arriving at the campus. This academic exchange dates back to the Renaissance. However, the mutual interest for each other's cultures hasn't got much to do with Britain's scepticism towards the European Union. Number 1. Island mentality.
Britain is an island nation. Consequently, Britain has always been somewhat isolated from mainland Europe. Even if you talk to people today, they will tell you that the mainland is Europe and Britain is Britain. However, this island mentality is not shared by other island member states of the EU, such as Ireland, Malta, or Cyprus. The reasons for Britain's objections to handing down her powers to Brussels does not, therefore, lie solely in the fact that Britain is an island. Britain's sceptical attitude towards Europe has to do with more than just her island mentality.
Number 2. Imperial hangover.
Until the final fall of the British Empire in the 1970s, Britain was used to having colonies, mainly in Africa and Asia. Britain never had to obey orders by a centralised power residing in a different state. In the course of history, Britain managed to deter other monarchies, such as Spain or France, from taking over the rule in Britain. Under Elizabeth I, England gained supremacy in seafaring. Britain expanded her power in the following centuries by founding more colonies than any other nation. British imperialism was of course challenged, as by Napoleon Bonaparte, who was then defeated in the Battle of Waterloo, or by the Indian Rebellion of 1857, but it was never truly shaken.
Number 3. World War I, the Great War.
British imperialism started to crumble after the First World War. Not only had Britain suffered twice the amount of casualties of World War II, but after 1918, the Commonwealth of Nations showed a growing assertiveness towards Great Britain. The colonies became increasingly aware of their own power and of Britain's fragility, which led to an increased national pride in those countries and to an unwillingness to obey British rule any longer.
Number 4. World War II.
The Second World War seemed to prove once more that within Europe, Britain was basically fighting on its own, and that the only country she could truly rely on were the United States of America. In a way, World War II set the stage for a future European unification. However, former Prime Minister Winston Churchill felt that the country had the obligation to assist in the construction of a united Europe, but not to be part of it.
We cannot aim at anything less than the union of Europe as a whole, and we look forward with confidence to the day when that union will be achieved.
Number 5. Refusal and restraint.
Winston Churchill said that the first step in the recreation of a European family must be a partnership between France and Germany. In 1951, this partnership was established by founding the European Coal and Steel Community, known in German by the name of Montanunion. Britain was asked to join as well. However, she refused because she did not want to be dependent on the decisions of supranational political bodies. Put in a nutshell, Britain feared that membership would mean the end of genuine Britishness, a loss of sovereignty in an important political domain. Neither did Britain sign the Treaty of Rome of 1957, which founded the European Economic Community, the predecessor of the European Union. Because she did not want to be part of a common European market at that time, Britain was still strongly connected to her colonies.
Number 6. Rejection and accession.
By the end of the 1950s, Britain's attitude slowly changed. Britain realised that her economy was falling behind France's and Germany's. The real crisis, though, was the loss of her colonies. The Suez Crisis of 1956 made quite clear that Britain had lost her role as a superpower. Britain realised that perhaps it did need the EEC after all. However, the French president, Charles de Gaulle, vetoed Britain's request twice, once in 1963 and once in 1967. An unofficial reason for Charles de Gaulle's refusal was that he feared the competition between France and the UK. Moreover, he feared that English could become the common language of the community, which it eventually did. It was only in 1973 that Britain did manage to join the EEC. One reason for this was that Charles de Gaulle left office in 1969. Another reason was that in 1970, Edward Heath, the leader of the Conservative Party, became Prime Minister. Britain's GDP in 1973 was distinctly below that of other EEC member states, and Heath hoped that membership would stop Britain's economic decline.
Number 7. Harsh disappointment.
Unfortunately, the desired economic boom did not occur. On the contrary, until 1978, Britain's unemployment rate went up to 5%. The oil prices also went up drastically, which led to an energy crisis to go along with the spike in inflation. In 1976, Britain even asked the International Monetary Fund for a bailout. Bailout means the act of giving money to a company or a foreign country that has very serious financial problems. The situation led to a huge strike wave in the so-called Winter of Discontent in 1978-79. However, the majority of British people still approved of a membership in the EEC. Britain had to face many obstacles before she finally joined the EEC. Und jetzt für euch nochmal alle Fakten in der Zusammenfassung.
Reasons for British EU scepticism. Island mentality. Britain always considered herself a nation apart from continental Europe. Imperial hangover. At its height, Britain was the largest empire in history. With the beginning of the 20th century, Britain started to lose its colonies. During World War I, Britain faced a crumbling empire and a growing nationalism throughout Europe. During World War II, Britain experiences her closeness to the USA and problems with Europe. Britain didn't support supranationality. This is why she neither joined the Coal and Steel Union nor signed the Treaty of Rome. French rejection. In 1963 and 1967, Charles de Gaulle vetoes Great Britain joining the European Community. Disappointment. After joining the European Community in 1973, Britain experienced a huge economic crisis.
Die Beziehung zwischen Großbritannien und Europa endet natürlich nicht 1980. Um mehr darüber zu erfahren, könnt ihr die anderen beiden Kapitel anklicken. Oder ihr schaut euch Danas Kolumne dazu an. Natürlich gibt es auch hier unseren Spickzettel und noch viel mehr bei alphaLernen auf der Homepage.